to Yallternative, and today I was going to show you guys where I am at on my sourdough journey. If you've seen my shorts, you will know that I did have a sourdough starter, not named, and I absolutely murdered it. 100% killed it. I was using whole wheat flour and bottled water. And one day I accidentally put tap water in it because I just wasn't thinking, and I just turned on the sink water and I threw it in. So that killed it. That's really fun. Love that for me. And I almost gave up, and I was like, sourdough's too hard. I don't like it, whatever. Then I was like, you know what? Let me just give it one more go. Let me try. And this is Chris. This is my new sourdough starter. See if I can get some sick bubble action in there. There we go. But Chris is about 2.5 weeks old. And as you can tell by the rubber band, he's doubling pretty well. And he's got some good bubble action going. For those of you who don't really know about sourdough starters, they're kind of a bitch to get started. But once you get them going, as long as you're consistent about it, and even then consistent is kind of like a word that I don't really want to use because you can kind of be flopsy with it. It's not hard. You just have to kind of use your brain about it. So I started Chris off with, there's a cat here. Is that on my jar or in my jar? Bro, that might be in my jar. I'd be a cat hair inside my jar. Hold on. 1 second. God, my cat's hair gets into everything. Hold on. Okay, I got it. Anyway, I started Chris off with, it was a 1:1:1 ratio, which just means I had 50 grams of flour and 50 grams of water. And I just used tap water. I said, fuck it. We're just gonna go all in, and if the tap water doesn't work, then I'll figure something else out. Because bottled water is expensive, it's not good for the earth, and I was really forgetful, and I would just use sink water anyway. So I used 50 grams of flour, whole wheat flour, and 50 grams of tap water. So you want to use the grams because you want to measure by weight instead of by volume. And if you measure by cups, like a cup of flour and a cup of water, that's measuring by volume. I don't know the science behind it. That's just what Reddit told me, and I trust Reddit. Probably an unwise decision, but I digress. So we started with that, and then I would get that was the first day. The next day, I didn't see any activity, no bubbles, no nothing. It was just a gloppy mess. I took half of it out, and then I added 50 more grams of flour and 50 more grams of water. And I just did that routine for like a solid week. And by like day 3, I saw like a bunch of bubbles, and I saw some really good activity, but it smelled like vinegar. And it kind of had like a funky smell, not like a ooh, funky cheese kind of smell. It was like a funky kind of smell. And I was worried that I had messed it up again. But what Reddit told me, and what several other sources told me, not just Reddit, was that was called Bacterial Fight Club. And what happens is that you have good bacteria from your yeast and from your flour and from your water fighting it out with like all the nasty bacteria that just kind of naturally occurs everywhere. And they're kind of fighting it out and trying to balance itself out so that the yeast can ferment and the flour can ferment, and it doesn't go bad. That's what fermentation is. It's the good bacteria winning over the bad bacteria. Does that kind of make sense? So I just kept going with my routine, taking half out, putting the same amount back in. And then eventually it started rising and like tripling in size in like 6 hours. And I was like, okay. And so that's how we kind of got here. And now they say I'm ready to bake with it. I'm honestly a little scared. Because like I can bake bread. I can make focaccia. I can make rolls. I can make biscuits. I'm not new to baking bread. But this is like, you gotta get your starter, you gotta mix it with the water, you gotta let it sit for 5 hours, you gotta do stretch and folds, and I'm just like, it's intimidating, okay? And I'm just real nervous to do it, but as soon as I get some parchment paper and like a proper bread pan, because I don't have a proper bread pan, I will try it out and see what happens. And I will let you guys know what happens. The main thing about this is that I want you to be there, like, on my journey, so that we can fail together, if that makes sense. I want to start this channel to not only educate people about things like sourdough, or educate people about things like sewing or gardening or stuff like that. Just good practical skills that I feel like everyone should have. But I want there to be like the ultimate transparency of like, if I fuck up, you're gonna know. And I don't want you to feel bad if you fuck up. So let's fuck up together. And let's just figure out what doing this life thing is. I don't know, that sounds pretty good, right? Maybe I'm just lonely. I don't know. But in all seriousness, I just wanted to get on here and tell about my sourdough and kind of what my goal is for this channel. And let's take on this mess. Bless this mess. Alright, bye.